Welcome to another episode of Titan PI TV, where we're looking at the inside workings of a live operational investigation agency, that being here, Titan in Derby. I am your host and Managing Director of Titan Private Investigation, Simon Henson. We're also available on podcast, wherever you download your podcasts, Titan PI TV podcast. So following on from 3 further episodes where we looked at foot surveillance and what a foot operative should be doing whilst I'm being followed, we then looked at anti-surveillance, and we then looked at the art of clearing corners to manage a surveillance team's exposure. Now I'm going to look at stop and plot when we're on foot. So stop and plot is when a subject goes into a building. In this situation, it's going to be a shop. So as a surveillance team, we need to put a sterile area around that subject, and we use the mnemonic VINO. V is visual, so we gain a visual on the shop where the subject entered. E is enter. One of the operatives will enter. If it's a tight little shop, or it's not in our objective or interest to enter, then we wouldn't. And we'd then have an operative that's covering the near side or the left as the subject comes out, and another operative to cover the offside or the right as the subject comes out. If we have only got a 3-man team though, or a 3-person team, we've obviously got 4 responsibilities there: visual, enter, near side, offside. So what we will probably need to do is double hat. So as I was saying, if you've got a 2-person team and you've got to get a visual, enter, cover the near side out the shop and cover the offside out the shop, which is the left and the right, then you're going to have the person with the visual also covering the near side and the offside, so they're going to be able to go with the subject when they exit, and you're going to have 1 person enter. If you've got a 3-person team, you could have 1 operative with the visual and maybe covering the offside as well. You would then have 1 entering and 1 covering the near side. So Will is going to be our subject. Will is going to enter a shop, and I'm going to discuss where we might get the visual from, how we might enter, where we might cover the near side from, and also the offside. So we'll do that now. Okay, so we've got Will, who we're surveilling. There's Will. We're following him from the near side. A little bit close, but I want you to be able to see him on the camera. And that's the subject towards TK Maxx, and a right into TK Maxx. Okay, so the subject's in TK Maxx. We now need to put our plot on, so VINO. We need to gain the visual. So where might we get the visual from? So we need to be natural, we need to use street furniture. It could be that I go into this shop here, opposite, in cover, and I'm able to get a visual on the subject of TK Maxx. I've got the doors through the window. So that could be the visual, or we could cover the visual right the way from down the bottom, down there in cover, near the RAM, or near that store. Then we need to get in a position to cover the offside if we've got another member on the team. So their responsibility is purely, when the subject comes out and turns right, to be able to pick up the subject before the next point of deviation. The next point of deviation would be by this RAM. So it makes sense for the person that's got the visual, if they are holding it all the way down from here, to also take the offside responsibility. Then we need to cover the near side out the shop. So another operative, we need to be in a position, if the subject goes left out the shop, taking the near side, they need to be in a position to pick up on the subject before the next point of deviation, so they can't escape. So we need to go past TK Maxx, which is here. We've got a nice few shops up here, so we could be in the shops. Or we could potentially use this chap here for cover, sit the other side of him on these seats. And then when the subject goes past, we would sit behind him. Or it could be you could just go into a shop and wait for him to go past. So there's plenty of shops just here. We could go in those, and just wait for the subject to be given a left, out the shop, and then we would just be making sure we can see him outside those windows. So the other position that we mentioned was entering. So when we enter a shop, the idea of the person entering is to keep control. And the only reason you would enter is if there is an objective which you can obviously cover. So if it's just domestic shopping and there's no clear objective about that, unlikely to meet anyone in TK Maxx and have a meeting or a handover, then you probably wouldn't go in. But if you did go in, you would be trying to keep cover between you and the subject so he can't see you, and ideally being able to trigger that subject out to give the team on the outside that are covering the visual near side and offside a heads up. And you do that by either giving a stand by, and hopefully trying to give direction out of the shop. That's the subject out, and a right. Or you could do tones. So if you do a series of tones on your PTT, your press to talk, which is in your pocket, then that means stand by to the team, and they are suddenly watching their positions. But they should be watching their positions all the time. So we'll go into TK Maxx and see if we can find Will. Okay, so Will is sat over there. So we want to try and keep away from Will, but using cover. But just be able to keep tabs on what he's doing in here if the objective is to come in. And we just slowly monitor Will inside the shop, trying to give the heads up when he goes out. However, security guards, they are looking for unusual behaviour. We don't want to have behaviour to be unusual, or they will start looking at us because they think we're a shoplifter. So whilst we're doing this, we need to try and be natural. As well, we're just walking around as a normal shopper, he's not looking at us. And then when Will goes out, it'll just be a stand by. Okay, so commentary on the subject leaving, stand by to the team. That is the subject towards the exit. That's the subject, out, and a right towards you. And the person covering the visual should hopefully pick up straight away. And because he's gone right, the person covering the offside, it's their responsibility to pick him up. So that is another episode of Titan PI TV. Thank you for listening. Please give us a thumbs up or subscribe so you don't miss further episodes. We're also available on podcasts wherever you download your podcasts. Titan PI TV podcast. Till next time.